short stint of his career, he was also involved in the sales and marketing function. Pugal has handled audit function over 10 years, covering spectrum of the business in trading, manufacturing, hospitality, professional services, entertainment, non-profit organizations. Google's potential solution is an authorized education partner and have trained over 1,000 students and working professionals and was involved in the corporate training and tele implementation for large corporate houses and MNC. Now we welcome Mr. Pugal for the session. Welcome, Mr. Pugal.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Thank you, C. Ravi, sir, for that wonderful introduction. And we from Tally thank sincerely Muscat chapter of ICAI and all the managing committee for giving us opportunity to represent wonderful event. And we are privileged to be present with this August gathering. And our sincere thanks from Tally to CA Rajendra Kumar for those kind words on our Tally software, and thanks to CA Vinit Shah for the wonderful positive words on our solution for VAT for UAE. So thank you. I have a small presentation which basically I would want to cover. So the domain aspect basically I'm not going to touch upon. Because you have heard from veterans CA Asta Rangan and then Mr. Taisar Nasib Salim sir, very neatly explained. In fact, I think with this knowledge, I think the businesses in Oman and also the chartered accountants would have a broader level of clarity on what they can see on the simplified VAT solution that is going to be introduced. Let me just quickly share my screen. Yeah. Okay. So in my session, basically, I'm going to cover about how technology can simplify VAT solution, and Tally as a software or a business solution provider. In India, we have been the technology partner for the MSME segment in India for over 35 years. And we have been providing statutory and taxation compliance many parts of the world, and especially India and other places also. So the Sultanate of Oman, the D-Day for VAT is going to be implemented from 16th of April. So I just recollect the words of the great Mr. Benjamin Franklin. So Mr. Benjamin, all of us know that Mr. Benjamin Franklin said that two things are certain in this world, right? One is the death and the second one is the taxes. So let's all welcome the VAT, a successful VAT implementation for the Sultanate of Oman from 16th of April. And basically, if you see, I mean, like I have also done sessions on UAE VAT, and I mean, like I've conducted more than 200 sessions on GST aspects in India. When I mean, I just want to give a small of the later moments of the introduction of taxation system. I mean, how it was introduced in India. So GST, I mean, all of you know that basically it's one of the revolutionary taxation system that was introduced in India since independence. So what we used to do, so after introduction of GST on 1st of July 2017, basically I used to go and meet a lot of customers. This is just on the lighter side. And today, in fact, thanks to the effort the GSTN is putting, and thanks to our central government and the state government officials who are involved in bringing this greatest reform into proper action today. I mean, a lot of things have been sorted out, but initially, we always had this teething problem, and we all know that I mean, basically, I mean, like a transition of such nature for the size of the country like India, there will be a teething problem. So during those teething problem period, basically I used to go and meet the Tally users, and just to find out like how they are taking the tally. The first is the GST aspect of it, since it's a new law, and also how they are using our solution for the GST compliance. So I met one of the Tally users, a very old user of Tally, and then I just asked him, what do you think of GST? And in the lighter vein, he said that he asked me, Pugal, do you know what is the full form of GST? I said, yes, sir. GST is goods and services tax. So he said, हाँ भैया, लेकिन मेरे लिए GST is God save taxpayer, because there are so many changes are happening and such a big law, and getting used to it and getting adjusted to it is going to take a lot of time. So I said, okay, fine. So everybody is going to face this. I'm talking about 2017. Then I just happened to. So I thought I was more keen on finding out whether this customer is using Tally. So the best person to go and find out is the accountant. So I went and met the accountant, and then I asked him, hmm, how do you feel? What is your take on GST? And then he was saying, sir, according to me, GST is government-sponsored tension, sir. He said there are a lot of changes that is happening. So many changes are happening. It is becoming difficult for me to manage. I said, hold on, no problem. Everybody is in the same boat. So over a period of time, it will all get smoothed out. And then fortunately today, there are a lot of changes have happened in the country, and it's basically, if you see, the compliance system is on the right track, and it is, sailing smoothly, right? So what is the impact? So I just wanted to give you this background, basically to understand like what kind of impact a new taxation system, which is going to be implemented in the country, and what impact it is going to have on businesses, right? So the first is that, yes, the business processes, and we have seen from our learned speakers about the explanation about the various articles and the requirements of the law. So how does the business get prepared themselves for these kind of things? And many pointers were given by two eminent speakers of what is the preparation that is required. So it plays a very important role. Here, what we feel is that basically chartered accountants like you, who are guru, guide, and mentors of your clients, will be depending a lot on your basically the building competency of that organization, getting clarity on the various components of the VAT, and so that they can be prepared. Or since the businesses are going to face a taxation era for the first time in their businesses. Okay? So the organizational competency. The challenge is, one, as a decision maker of the organization, what are the key aspects of the law that the decision maker needs to know about it, the owners of the organization need to know about it, and the most important thing is the people who are actually running the business, where they are capturing the financial transaction or accounting transaction, which now it's going to have an implication on the VAT aspect also. So building the competency is very important. Like our previous speakers had mentioned, it is never wait for the last minute. So start getting prepared yourself for facing this major transition in the business, so that you are prepared than being sorry. Okay, so this is the second impact that is going to create. And the third one is, yes, the transitioning part, right? So there were questions. What happens to my stock before the implementation of VAT, or before my registration for VAT? And these kind of things basically requires, and also about the RCM, like what implications you have RCM, and the deemed supply examples that CA Asta madam had given is so wonderful, where you have multiple use cases, and how are you going to be prepared, and what is the awareness that your organization is going to get, so that you are not being compliant and then later on face the consequences. So the transitioning of the entire system, including your people, is going to be a bigger challenge, and it requires the preparedness for the organization and the people in the organization to be ready for transitioning. and of course, yes, compliance. So the law is very, very, very important that, you be compliant on the various aspects of the business, especially those, non-compliance penalties and other aspects. We have to be very clear. I mean, we have to keep in mind and then see that how well we are going to be compliant, right? So considering this see today, I mean, it is going to be imperative for businesses not to adopt a technology, especially for your accounting, and now with the VAT introduction, the compliance also, IT system or a technology is really going to make your life easier and simpler and be more compliant, right? So I mean, like, if you see the challenges as a software company face, or how can a simplified solution of compliance of VAT can be provided to the businesses who are adopting our technology. I mean, like, it could be Tally technology or any software. But this is going to be the challenge for all software companies. So the transition of VAT compliance by businesses should be seamless and simple. So three very important questions, the software companies, or in at Tally, if you see, we used to ask the three very important questions. And the solution that we have brought in for the GST complex compliance law in our country. So that way, if you see, I can if I can expand the acronym on a lighter sense about VAT in Oman, I can say, since the law is very simple, you have one single standard rate of 5%. So the VAT in Oman, I can say, is very attractive tax system that is going to be implemented. It is going to be simpler and easy to be compliant with, right? So the three question is, how do I make my accountant's life simpler if he's using my technology for managing his accounts and also the VAT compliance? Question number two is that how to make the compliance, or how do we build this compliance mechanism or the compliance system in the software, so that the compliance should be the natural outcome of your business transaction, or it has to be a natural outcome of your accounting transaction. So you should not be, I mean, the user should not be putting much of effort in trying to be compliant along with managing their books of accounts. So that's the second challenge that we had when we were designing this solution for India as well, UAE, KSA, various other countries where the VAT was implemented. And the third very important challenge, or the question that we had, is that how do we build the confidence and the trust of the data to all of you as a chartered accountants, or as a tax advisor to your clients, all of you being like I mentioned earlier, guru, guide and mentor of your client. How are we going to give you that confidence that whatever data that the user has captured using the software, whether those values or whether those transactions are in compliant with the laws of the country, so that you can confidently file the return accordingly, right? So these are some of the impact of VAT that definitely we are going to have. And let us see why technology requires this particular thing. Again, I'm not getting into the aspects of this, but I'm going to just highlight on a couple of area which basically I mean, like, builds a resonation of why a technology is going to play a very important role. The first part is the Article 10, which is electronic submission. So the Article 10 says electronic submission or with prior approval. I mean, like, you can do a physical thing. So what are the things that you need to do through electronic submission? One is your tax return, then is your financial statement, then your records and documents, whatever is being demanded. So it is very, very important. I think in one of the slides, Mr. Binit Shah had mentioned about the challenges, IT implementation challenges. That is very, very critical, right? So basically, one of the first challenge that you have to make sure, whatever is the technology that you're going to use for VAT compliance, you have to ensure that you have an integrated IT solution for your organization. When I say integrated IT solution, basically you need to ensure that your financial information or your accounting information is taken care of. It is taking care of your inventory. If you are a trader or a manufacturer, you need to take care of the inventory aspect of it, and also the compliance aspect of it. So these three very important, the three pillars of your business needs to be in one single system, so that at any point in time, anybody would want to, any officer, like there is an article which says that in the audit. So I'll just come to that. So how prepared and how well is your records have been documented, such that at any point in time you are able to retrieve this information and then produce to the relevant stakeholders without any delay and with full confidence, right? The second one is basically the RCM. I think there were more questions on RCM. So basically, what we need to see here is that these are the basically I'm also using this word challenges that the business is going to have, and I will in my later stages in my presentation. Basically, I would like to draw a parallel saying that, okay, this is what is the law that requires these kind of compliance, and how a technology or an IT solution that you're using for your compliance understands this law and then gives you this comfort of managing these laws in a much better and in a much reliable manner, right? So the RCM part. So how do we handle RCM? Okay, then the taxable value. There was an example given in the presentation that what constitutes your taxable value, what needs to be added as your taxable value, what can be reduced as your taxable value, how does the IT system, how do you configure them? And one example, I think Sorry, CA Benicia had mentioned about insurance. In case if it becomes exempted, then it should not form part of it. So any kind of changes or more clarity you are getting in the compliance aspect of it, the solution that you are using should be such that you are able to configure them seamlessly without the dependence from the software provider for making all those changes, so that you are able to move on with your business without any bottleneck or hurdles in your business, because your system that you are using is not up to date, or it is not giving you the required compliance step forward for you to carry on with your business. So the taxable value is one aspect of it. Then the rate of VAT. So fortunately here, if you see, there is only one rate of VAT. So basically it is nil rated, zero rated, or it is 5%, unlike what we have in our country, right? So the rate of VAT, even in case of rate of VAT, if you see the way the product has been designed in Tally is, today you have, and there was a mention during one of the Q&A session, that probably the services could become zero or it could become 10%. But then how quickly can you transition with your existing system, so that like I mentioned earlier, that you're not held back because of these changes in the compliance. So if you see the rate of VAT, the way it is designed in Tally also is that you can design at multiple, I mean, you can provide VAT at multiple stages. Like if there is a change in any of the item VAT rate, you can go and modify it yourself. You don't have to really depend on the software provider. If there is a change in services, then you can go and do it. And then again, marking them as RCM and all those aspects, uh, we will discuss about it. So the rate of VAT is very important. Then ineligible input tax credit. There was question that what are the ineligible thing. As per law, whatever is the ineligible credit, the law specifies that the dealer or the taxable person is not eligible to claim input tax credit. How do you reverse it from your books of account, and how those reversals, I'm sure these reversals needs to be reflected in your written form, and how these information are captured, and that's again a very important aspect. and you have to see how the solution that you're using, or the system that you're using, allows you to be manage the reversal of your input tax credits, and then the tax invoice, of course. So I mean, like, you need to, as I mentioned earlier, that you need to have a single system which can take care of all these activities, right? So the system that you're using should allow you to generate tax invoice, and all the relevant information that are mandatory to be captured in the tax invoice needs to be captured through the system that you're using. And then maintenance of record, right? The maintenance of record, basically the article says that a taxable person should maintain your record for 10 years, right? And in case of your capital asset, you have to maintain your records for 15 years, right? So definitely a technology is what will give you, this confidence of maintenance of these records over the time, right? So that is again very important. The written filing with the breakup of supply. This is very important. So how does your software system can allow you to flag them or tag them, your transactions of basically your sales or your outward supply or your inward supply or your purchases or your expenses, and how can you report this information as per the requirement of Article 72. The Article 72 says the taxable, you have to furnish your details of your sales and purchases and your expenses as per your taxable and exempt supply, import of goods, output tax for which the return is filed, input tax claimed, and tax due for the period. Okay, and then assessment, if return is not filed, and assessment for the last 5 years, and in some cases they are talking about 10 years also. And these are some of the things. So how everything, so the whole idea is that the user of the technology should not be spending like iterative time on getting this information. It has to be, this is what the challenge number 2 is, that how can these information be auto populated from your business transaction. Then comes audit of books. Yes, audit of books, Article 74. At any point in time, authority may audit the books of accounts and related documents from time to time. So how prepared are you to give this information to the person? Okay, and then penalty clause. I think Sir Taisul Nasib sir had mentioned about the implications. So that basically the Article 99 to 103 talks about the penalty clause, and we have to be careful about Article 100, which sir had explained, the imprisonment and various other things, fine up to 10,000 Omani Riyal, and imprisonment and fine. So we have to be very careful about these things, right? So how do we manage this, and how does the software solution system that you are using gives you this confidence of VAT compliance, so that you are able to continue your business irrespective of the transition, and you are very smoothly transitioning from your existing business processes to the compliant process system, right? And if you see the whole premise of the compliance concept, I mean compliance controls should be designed for any solution that a software company provides, should be designed to help the company to ensure the VAT compliance are accurate and adhere to the timeline. That again, the timeline is very important, right? So the three controls, if you see, is basically, one is that as you are, I mean, like, one is that, how does the system detect? So you configure your company for the as per the VAT compliance law, and then how do you, if there is any deviation from your configuration as per law, if there is any deviation, how does the system detects it? So the capabilities has to be provided to the system, where system should provide the capabilities that it is able to detect any unforeseen implication due to non-adherence or non-compliance of the law. And how does the system, one, it detects, Okay, one is detection aspect of it. Second is how does it prevent the user from, being not compliant because of various reasons, or non-awareness and other thing. So basically, the system should, basically whatever you have configured, it has to prevent if it is not in accordance with your configuration aspects of it, or as per the requirement of the law. And the most important thing is that how quickly, how seamlessly the IT solution or the software that you're using does allow you to correct these mismatch or incomplete information on the fly, so that you are able to stick to your deadline. So these are the three premise. Now, taking these three premise, if you take this prevention, detection, and correction, and these three things are taken care, I mean, compliance is done. So if you just see what areas is critical, that you need to put effort in trying to see that how well you are able to configure your technology for VAT compliance. Okay, so one is the configuration aspect of it. The second is the recording aspect of it, which is what needs to detect any unusual, or any mismatch in your recording and the configuration. And also the reconciliation and store before you file your information at the portal. So whatever is the requirement as per law, whether the data or the transactions, are they in accordance with the law? That is very important. Reconciling at the source, and also ease of filing of return. So quickly we will see what is the configuration. Now this is where I had mentioned earlier that if you take let me just take the example of Tally. Right, in Tally, if you see, you can set up the VAT rate at the company level. So like I mentioned, in your case, you have this one standard rate of 5%, whether it is for your goods or services. It takes less than 2 minutes for you to configure, or for you to be compliant for VAT in your country in Tally. All you need to do is just set up at the company level and specify 5% is the standard rate, and nothing else the user needs to do. So all the way all these years the user has been creating the master, the user has been passing your purchase entry, sale entry, receipt entry, and the payment entry, and managing your inward movement and outward movement of inventory. Everything is taken care by just configuring the VAT rate at the company level, right? So what is that you can specify? You can specify your TRN, then you can specify the tax rate at the company level, right? And then the master setup. So basically in the master setup, you have this, the buyer ledger, the basically buyer or your customer and your supplier ledger, where maybe you need to do some configuration of the government rate, sultanate, or if they are from GCC or non-GCC country, if you are importing or if you are exporting, those are the configurations that is required. And all this configuration in the master level, the technology should, designed in such a way that it has to be a one-time configuration. It is not that often you keep configuring these things, like the TRN of the customer or the supplier. You need to capture them, and then you have your stock item, right? So in case tomorrow for some reason, let us assume that there is an increase in the VAT rate or decrease in the VAT rate for some of your items, then the system or the technology that you're using should allow you to configure them to the whatever is the applicable rate of those items, right? So stock items can be done. You can specify the tax rate for your stock item. Currently it is 5%, and you really don't have to do it for each and every stock item. Let's say you have 5,000 stock item in your organization. The user need not have to go and configure 5% for all 5,000 stock items. Once you configure at the company level, it automatically inherits the tax rate that is specified at the company level to all your ledger masters and all your uh, stock item also. Okay, so you can also specify if some of the item are zero rated. And also an item when it is sold within the country, you will have a standard rate of 5%. And there was a question, what is the rate of VAT for export? The same item which is getting exported, then it is going to be a zero rated. How does the system should have the built-in intelligence such that these kind of requirements are taken care by the software. Then of course you have your tax ledger. Maybe you will have one single VAT ledger, or you will have your output ledger, input ledger, created for various MIS or for reconciliation purpose. So you have your tax ledger created. So specify the VAT detail in the tax ledger, and then these are your configuration that you're going to do. Once you complete the configuration, then you are going to record your transactions, or your purchases, your entry of your expenses, then your of course your sales, also different kinds of sales that you do. So based on the configuration that you provide now at your company level and at your master level, basically when you are passing a transaction, the software system will now start imbibing those configuration into your transaction. And whenever you pass your normal transaction, the system has to validate, and then has to now see whether the record that you are creating, is it in accordance with the configured law of the requirement, right? So this is where you capture the transaction, and the moment you capture the transaction, it is going to verify it is not accordance with the configuration of compliance that you have done for your organization. The system should allow, it has to give you a warning, or and it has to provide an alert saying that whether it is in compliant with the law, or whether there is an exception that is happening in your transaction. So every transaction needs to be validated and verified according to your configuration. Okay, so it will also find out whether the right rate of tax is charged, or all those things. Like for example, if you are exporting and by mistake, I'm a data entry operator, by mistake I charge VAT of 5% on export, the system should be intelligent enough to basically, to know that, this is an export transaction, so VAT is not going to be applicable. So that's the kind of intelligence needs to be built in. In fact, the technology needs to understand the law, and it has to imbibe the complexity of the law into the software, such that the user gets a simplified solution of maintaining their business records and being compliant, completely VAT compliant as per the value-added tax law in Oman. Okay, so these are some of the important aspects that you need to evaluate when you are moving into the when we saw the earlier the slide of IT implementation challenges. Okay, and then reconciliation at source. So you have configured your master, you have passed your transaction. There are alerts and warnings given in case if you have ignored those alerts and warning. Then what do you do? I mean, like, how do you reconcile? How do you make sure? And this is what is basically the confidence booster for especially chartered accountants like you, where you are going to take the responsibility and charge of filing VAT return for your client. What is the confidence that the technology which you would have chosen, Tally as a technology, that what is the confidence that it is going to give you, right? So based on these parameters, you will need to have a system where you can get a VAT reconciliation, which gives you basically it gives you a statistical information of all this, statistical information of all the transactions which are being captured for a given period, whether it could be a month or a quarter, and also statistical information of what are the vouchers which are forming part of your return for that particular period, what is not getting forming part of it, and that way it gives you more clarity. See, generally what happens, like for example, if you see here in this side, it says not relevant for the written 25 transactions. So very good, it is not relevant, but then it is important. Like as a chartered accountant, you would want to definitely see what are those transactions which are not relevant for the transaction, because it's very important. And these are some of these verification validation when you do to a system or a software. It gives you more confidence. So basically you just drill down and see, okay, why are these transactions not forming part of this particular return, right? So once you know, okay, fine, there is this contra entry, there are this payment entry, or receipt entry, which basically has no implication in this particular transaction. That's the reason why your technology is identified, which I said, I mean, like, the law needs to be imbibed into the software so that it interprets the law and then picks up the information, and then it populates in the respective forms. Okay. So one is that basically, in case if there are any mismatch, or in case if there are any incomplete information as required by the law, the software needs to identify, and then, it has to pull out those exceptions for the user to basically reconcile them before, you finalize your books of account or your data for filing of your return, right? So how simple it should be. Again, a seamless correction, right? And also, when you see a 10, it says that there are 10 records which are incomplete. Now it becomes very, especially if you see your client's accountant has passed this entry. There are hundreds and hundreds of entries that has passed during a VAT period. And then now let us assume that you are using Tally for VAT compliance. And then now when you come to this report, it says there are 25 entries or there are 10 entries which are incomplete. Now it becomes very difficult for you to go and find out, okay, where has this mismatch occurred, or what are those vouchers in which incomplete information are there, what kind of information which is incomplete, what kind of mismatch it has happened, right? So basically, the solution that you're using or the software that you're using should have that intelligence to tell the user that what is the nature of exception. So basically, you just select that particular thing, enter into that, and it is going to now, basically tell you that whether you have selected, whether have you specified the country, kingdom, sultanate, or whether they are GCC, whatever, wherever that requirement is there. Okay, if you have not specified the tax rate, probably you will get those information. And if there is a mismatch in the tax amount, so you are supposed to charge 5%, and as per the as per the computation, an amount has to be X amount. But while passing the transaction, probably somebody would have gone and entered the higher value or a lower value. So in that case, does the system has the intelligence to find out that what should be the value that it has to actually compute, and what is the value that has been captured in the transaction? So these are some of the intelligence, and also it gives you, as a chartered accountant, basically it gives you now the comfort that you know where exactly the exceptions are there, what is the nature of exception, so that it becomes easy for you to get into those exceptions, and then use your domain expertise to basically validate or verify the authenticity or the genuinity or the completeness of the transaction. Okay, so what are the incomplete details? If there are any incomplete detail, all those information you basically need to get. And if you have not, if you have specified a particular, say, a customer as your regular dealer. Now, and then if you have not entered TRN of the party, then it becomes an incomplete information which you cannot now file the return. So if any of the party where you have captured the transaction for the period, and if you have not specified the TRN, it is going to tell you what is the I mean, like, you have not entered the TRN. And the best part, if you see, the software solution should be such that basically it doesn't keep throwing out the error, the same kind of error. Like, for example, this is an error which is master related. I had mentioned earlier that I mean, it is just one time configuration that you are going to do for the master. So when you are at the return, when you are reviewing the return, so it says that there is a TRN missing of this particular party. So you go and enter the TRN of this particular party. You will be achieving two objectives. Objective number one, you have corrected the return as per the requirement. Objective number two, the system should go to the in the back end. The system should go back and update the master, so that next time the same kind of an error should not keep irritating you. Right. So these are some of the things which basically gives you the confidence of compliance. So now your return is ready. When is it going to be ready? When your mismatch or incomplete numbers, if it becomes zero, that means you should feel very happy. Now, generally, as a chartered accountant, or as an accountant, we are very happy seeing number, or we feel very sad when we see zero. Now, this is one report where for VAT compliance, if you see 0, you should feel very happy because then the data is the hero for your GST compliance. Okay, so now it is going to be ready. So you validate everything and seamless correction, everything it does. Ease of filing is basically that, how do you quickly take the data from any software that you are using and convert them into the required file, whatever is the law states, convert them, and then, you are able to file the return, verify, validate, and then file the return. Okay, so this is the ease of filing of return. So speed and efficiency, how soon, how quick can you file the return without any thing? And the best part is that, the confidence of your client and yourself that yes, the return that you have filed is accurate and it is as per the requirement of the law. Okay, so that's basically going to give you the compliance part of it. Just allow me to spend another 10 minutes where I would just like to walk through the peek into Tally for Oman VAT, where in the back end, our team have already started working on the compliance for Oman VAT. From Tally, we can assure you that whatever day the VAT compliance is going to be needed in the alternate month, the solution from Tally for VAT compliance is going to be available much earlier. So as we get more clarity on the VAT compliance and the other detailing of the law, like in the Q&A also, there were questions which we were discussing about. We need more clarity and other aspects of it, right? So as we get more clarity, the advancement of the solutioning for VAT by Tally, we will keep doing this. And just a simple walkthrough that, you just create your company and then you say you want to enable VAT, and you enter your TRN number, registration number. And this is what I was talking about. This is what I was talking about, the just one sec. This is what I was talking about, how you can set up the VAT information for your stock item and how you can set up your VAT. So these are your master setup for all your sales or all your incomes and different type of sale, how you can mark them, whether it is exempt, taxable, or zero rated, and all those aspects you can do. Now you create your party ledger, whether it is a sundry debtor or a sundry creditor, and then you can configure whether the person is a regular dealer or an unregistered person. And also there will be a configuration, additional configuration, where we can talk about this uh, uh, designated area, right? So there was use cases discussed about the sale purchase of goods from mainland to designated area, from one designated area to another designated area. All those requirement of the law, basically by creating your master, you can configure that, and accordingly Tally is going to basically tell you. In case there was this question about advance, when you receive an advance, GST VAT is going to be applicable, right? So you can configure that in the system so that the moment you receive an advance, so the system, like, Tally in your written form, which is your reconciliation statement, it is going to tell you, hey, look, I mean, you have received this amount of advance. The tax liability on this particular advance at the rate of 5% is going to be this much, right? And it is going to show you the value, and all you need to do is, just create a record in your books of account so that, your books of account and your return is going to match. Similarly, in case of RCM, right? So based on the configuration that you do, Tally is going to tell you what are those inward supply on which RCM is going to be applicable, and what is the amount of RCM that is going to be leviable. Okay, so where you can also, and there are various adjustment flags where you can say, yes, this RCM is a liability for the period, and at the same time, because it is a liability, you are going to pay this, you are eligible to claim for input tax credit on or the tax credit you are going to claim, because, the goods or service is being used for the business purpose, right? So those kind of behavior, whatever you want to do, or in case, I think CA Biritsa had mentioned that in case of an RCM, right? So that 90-day criteria which is there. So all this can be basically, configured in Tally so that, the user need not to have to really remember. It is RCM. The system, Tally is going to tell you what is the RCM liability. You have received advance, Tally is going to tell you what is the VAT liability on advance received. And this is where you capture your transaction. And this is one simple example that we have taken where instead of 700 rupees, you have the user is for some reason is charged 712. Now this is not going to happen in Tally, because once you configure properly in Tally, Tally is going to automatically calculate the VAT. So if Tally, so one very important thing when you people are going to use Tally for the VAT compliance for Oman, once it is configured, one very important thing, like you also have to remember, and please tell your clients also, if they are using Tally, that, once you configure, the moment you select the tax ledger, Tally will automatically compute the value. If the value is not getting populated in your purchase entry or in your sale entry, so that means there is some mismatch or there is some incomplete information that is not captured properly in your master. So this is one very important clue. So Tally will always calculate the correct tax rate as per the configuration you have done at the master level. So for any reason, if there is a change, we will see how this is going to take care. And we were talking about the tax invoice, right? So the tax invoice, we have taken this example in case of a UAE and the KSA tax invoice, right? So where, basically you can print the tax invoice in multi-language, and also or in the respective country's language, you can print them. All these features and things are available, and you will notice that all those respective information that are required as per law for the tax invoice will get captured in Tally. Okay. Then coming to the VAT return, you have this VAT return. Now these are the reports that you are going to get. So in case of advance receipt, if you want to know how much of advance you have received, what is the tax liability on that, you can go to that particular report. It is going to give you transaction wise, party wise information of the advance receipt. RCM, reverse charge report, again it is going to tell you what are the RCM. One is that RCM, two types of RCM. One is the RCM in case of import into the country. The second is the purchase from a person, non-registered person, or a non-resident, where you are supposed to pay RCM. So these kind of breakup and the different types of reverse charge all can be viewed in this particular report, and you can start capturing those liability, account for those liabilities, so that you are not getting into any late fee, interest, or penalty. And also VAT paid to the custom report. In case if you get more detail about the VAT paid, whether you have declared, like in the case of UAE, if you see, there are in the UAE VAT return, it is asking you those three tables. It says, okay, have you declared the custom? If you have not declared, what is the value? And if you have declared and paid duty, what is the value? So all this information as per the requirement. So once you get the form for the Oman, and then you get all those detail and specific details. Once the more clarity is given, Tally is going to allow the user to basically, all you're going to do is you're going to make a purchase entry, sale entry, and respective GST entries. Every information will automatically get captured in your return in the respective table, and also all those other thing, also you will get information. Okay. Now, yeah. Okay. So now this is basically the exception that is going to give you, and this is where it is going to tell you what is the actual calculation and what is the transaction. If there is any difference, it is going to give you this difference here. Okay. And these are the VAT return form that we have just captured, so that it is going to basically give you all this information. And already we have an FTA accreditation for our software in UAE. We also have the accreditation in Saudi Arabia, and hopefully we should be getting accreditation from the Oman country also. So quickly, just to close, if you see, if you are a manufacturer or a trader, what is it? So at the company level, you can specify, stock group level, if required, stock item level, you can specify. If you are a service provider, you are not into trading of goods, then you can have at the company level, accounting group level, accounting ledger level. You need your customer ledger, vendor ledger, and your tax ledger configured as we had discussed. Tally, I mean, like Tally is going to give you an exception report. What we just now saw, correct those exception report and export or upload or print the VAT return, and then you're done with the compliance, right? So updating of a system, again, it is very important. I'm not going to go into it like you must have gone through this IT implementation challenges. Please make sure that you are being prepared for this. Okay, and one important announcement that we would want to do here is that we are having an exclusively Tally Prime subscription for all chartered accountants at a special price, which is going to have a limited period offer, and this will be communicated from the chapter to individual, I mean, like members of the chapter. Our team would get in touch with the chapter, and they will discuss in detail about the offer that we are giving to the chartered accountants of Oman, who is going to help the businesses of Oman to be VAT compliant, right? So this is one thing which we would want to announce here. And so just as an ending statement, government knows what is best for the country, and CA knows what is best for the business, and Tally knows for technology. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Pugal. I really loved your ending. You ended it perfectly. There is just one question for you.
Yeah.
I guess, what I need to add is that your presentation was as crisp and as clear and as easy as Tally itself.
Oh, thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
There is only one question for you, sir. It has come from an anonymous attendee. He says, "Hi, sir. Can you please advise on where we can buy the Tally accounting package from in Oman? Could you list out your registered dealers?"
Okay. Yes, we will see. One is that you can go to our website and then you can look for the detail. Otherwise, definitely our team will. I mean, since it is an anonymous, again the problem is we don't know who the person is. See, we have partners. We have partners. You can see our website, and then probably you can come to our website, and then we have our contact detail. Please give us a call. We will assist you in finding the nearest partner for you, so that you can buy Tally.
Thank you so much, Mr. Pugal. I now request CA Ashwini Savrikar, our ex-past chairman, to felicitate you. Ashwini, can you please do the honors?
Hi, good afternoon. Mr. Pugal, thank you so much for your session today. I'm sure this gives assurance to the SMEs and other chartered accountants to advise their clients accordingly, that this is one solution which is available. And today being yourself and your previous speakers, you have been the opening batsman for our VAT series for the Muscat chapter of ICAI. So this will definitely give the assurance to our members to what to look at even if they are looking for other softwares, what is it that they should expect from their respective software providers. And currently we all are in this state where we don't know what's really going to happen and how we're going to cope with that. So this is a beginning from the Muscat chapter to help our members understand and give a guiding light. And we are really thankful to you, Mr. Pugal, for being one of our opening batsmen today and giving us this information about how Tally software can help our members. On behalf of the Muscat chapter of ICAI, I extend a big thank you to you for this session. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Over to you, Shilpa.
Thank you, Ashwini. Can I have his certificate on the screen, please?
So, Mr. Pugal, please accept this e-certificate from our side. It being an electronic event, the certificate is also an electronic certificate, which will be later on sent to you over your email. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Silpaji, we'll have a group photo now.
Okay.
Before we announce that vote of thanks, before we'll have group photo. Please, everybody can switch on their video. Nandraji, Afsan Patel. Sanji. Jim, you will take the honor.
Yeah, I can take. Done. Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay.
One more. Prabhu bhai, where you went?
Okay, continue, Ravi.
Thank you.
Done.
Shilpa ji, over to you now. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Now I request CA Sanil to please give his vote of thanks to conclude today's event.
Okay. Okay. When we went to meet Dr. Kalfan last week, myself and Jim along with our chairperson, we were at Central Bank and we met Dr. Kalfan. And when our chairman, Mr. Prabhu, invited him for this event, he readily accepted on the spot, and he was here this morning to address us. Thank you, Dr. Kalfan, for being with us and sharing your knowledge with us. And secondly, we had our Central Council member, C. Rajendra Kumar, who was the guest of honor for the day. And he had delivered a fantastic speech. Plus, he has assured us all support in the coming days in the for the chapter, as well as for the members, as well as for the industry in whatever way possible. Sri Ravi Shankar Goyal, Second Secretary for Embassy of India. As usual, the embassy has been a very good support for us in all the events in the past. And today's event was not different. Thank you, Sri Ravi Shankar Goyal, being present today and sharing your thoughts on VAT, as well as the inter-country relationship between India and Oman. Now, we had the presentation from CRO team, Mr. Tyser, Mr. C.A. Astarangan, who was our past chairperson, as well as Bimit Shah, who did a fantastic job. Thank you, the CRO team, for being present today and for your presentation and insights. We look forward to your support in the future too. And of course, last but not the least, the Tally solutions. Pugal, you had been very technical as well as very simple in your words in explaining things. And it is not only that it was not a Tally event, it was a technical event on these aspects and what are the precautions or what are the measures the industry should take in implementing VAT was done beautifully. Thank you, Pugal, for your thoughts as well as your description of the steps to be taken in implementing VAT. And CBFS is our sponsor. They have been supporting throughout in our activities. Thank you, CBFS, for your continuing support. And thank you all the members who took time out this Saturday morning to be present and to be a part of the chapter activities. Thank you all. Thank you once again. Bye-bye.
Thank you, CS Sanilji. So I can close the event for today with a reminder that this is a series. Please look out for updates. You will get updates on the next event as soon as we are ready with the speakers. So see you soon on the next part of this series. Goodbye, thank you, and enjoy the rest of your weekend.
Thank you.
We can't hear you, CA Prabhuji.
Prabhuji, thank you. Shilpa ji, good job.
Thank you, my pleasure.
Yeah.
Thank you very much,
Shilpa, I didn't forget to thank you.
Yeah.
No worries, no thanks needed. I just did my duty.
Apsanji, thank you for joining me in the event, and I hope you like it. And we look forward for your contribution in the future as well. A similar way. Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you very much, team, our management committee team, and the volunteers and subcommittee members. Thank you very much, and look forward to your continued support.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Firoz Khan, still people are there. Shall I cancel the event, Prabhu? Shall I
Okay, time to sign off. Thank you very much.
sign off? Okay. Thank you. Good job.
Stay connected.
Stay connected. So I'll end the session so that things will go out suddenly.